Hello, I'm Françoise Massardier-Kenney. I direct the Institute for Applied Linguistics at Kent State University, and I'm going to talk about what we're trying to do with our new PhD program in translation studies. It is a new program. We started it last year, but the program has been in existence as a translation studies graduate program for 20 years. We've had a master's degree involving about, I would say, between 50, 60 full-time students in any given year. And perhaps more importantly, 12 full-time faculty members whose main area of research is translation studies. And I emphasize this because, considering the complexity of the field, it is crucial to have a critical mass of faculty members. These 12 people have been in conversations, sometimes arguments, for the last few years, and we really we came to the conclusion that we absolutely needed a PhD program, developed PhD program in the U.S. When I accepted to do this short presentation, I was asked to start with a provocative statement, and couldn't come up with one, except that in the U.S., developing a PhD program in translation studies is a provocation in and of itself. So that's where we are at the moment. When we developed the program, we were influenced by two major factors. One has to do with PhD programs in the U.S., and the other one has to do with our conception of translation research as having two major components, and I'll speak briefly about those two major components. The first one has to do with the fact that we're interested in looking at translation research as it intersects with translation practice, the principles that guide that practice, and the methodologies that either individual translators or cohort of translators have used at a given time in a given place. These aspects of translation can include issues of creative, historical, psychological, cognitive, sociological, ethical aspects of translation. And this focus includes issues of quality and assessment as well. And so we call that translation studies per se. The other component that we felt was crucial was the intersection of translation research with information technology, digital networking, and computational approaches. So we've given the name of translation informatics to that aspect of translation research. We are linking those two components of translation research in a curriculum that has two tracks, translation studies and translation informatics, and with a number of shared core courses because the curriculum is methodology intensive. So we have those two tracks, translation studies and translation informatics. The translation studies focuses then on translation theory, research methods, pedagogy, and corpus linguistics approaches with respect to the study of translation practice. The translation informatics track focuses on the development of tools, obviously translation tools, empirical research on the use of those tools, issues of multilingual document localization, software localization, and internationalization. Problems in computational linguistics, such as electronic versus manual terminology dictionary compilation, multilingual language-related issues with regard to the development and organization of knowledge content on the semantic web. I'm probably forgetting a couple of things, but I think the tools, the issues of translation with regard to the semantic web, and localization, internalization, and terminology are probably the main foci of this. So this was the major driving force behind the curriculum: research intensive, methodology intensive. The other driving force, of course, was following the standards of doctoral education in the U.S. And I mention these because they might be different in Europe. It's course intensive, 2 years of courses, 30 hours, in seminar forms, small classes, interaction between students and faculty members, funding for students in the U.S., mostly doctoral students, when they're full-time, are funded, and recognition that faculty members involve a great deal of their time in advising PhD students, so they're giving release time for their courses to work in the PhD program. This leads us to perhaps my conclusion, which is that the program, such a program, is demanding, and it is a real challenge to add to the core of 12 faculty members with extremely broad skill sets. It's very difficult to hire additional faculty members who have the expertise, for instance, in computational approaches, or who can handle the impact of information technology on translation studies. So I would say this is a major challenge, and at the same time, I guess it's a positive, because it means that students who go through the program will be in high demand, since there's so many translation programs cropping up in the United States and elsewhere. And if we all survive the process, the students and the faculty, I think, will feel happy about having achieved this ambitious goal. So, thank you.